Today we're testing out this PowerSmart 2500 watt inverter generator and we'll compare it to an older model. As soon as you get this out of the box, the first thing you'll see is a manual, also your oil funnel, which this will need a slight bit of assembly, which is simple. You'll also have a tool kit that'll have a screwdriver and spark plug socket and the generator under the foam packaging. Now this generator will come with a manual fuel gauge, a 1.06 gallon fuel tank, a vent to open and close. It will also have a fuel strainer as well to catch any debris when you are filling this up. You have a 3-position selector switch with off, on, and choke. A pull start cord with this nice chrome bezel all the way around, which, this being smooth, should help keep the cord from getting frayed when pulling on it. As we look at the front of the generator, you'll have your indicator light. You will have this eco mode switch, a reset button for the DC circuit, which this is a 12-volt socket that can provide about 126 watts. You also have some USB ports as well, which these are USB-A's. They can provide about 1 or 2.1 amps. You also get a set of 120-volt outlets. You also have your reset button, which you can press this when it's running after it's overloaded, so you don't have to shut the generator off and then turn it back on. And it also has parallel ports, that way if you wanted to buy 2 of these and parallel them together, then you could have double the output power. Air intake, which your inverter board is right on the other side of this. On the other side of the top of the generator is where you'll find your spark plug access hatch. Now this is barely big enough to get my hand in, so you may need a tool to remove the boot. You also have this access panel, which we'll remove this in a little bit. And on the back of the generator is where you'll find the exhaust, which it is a little bit lower than some models. You will also find a 1-800 number on the back, along with the specifications of this generator, which is 2.5 kilowatts or 2500 starting or surge, along with 1900 running watts max or 15.8 amps. And a rated speed of 4800 RPM, which we will check low and high idle RPMs. And in the back of the manual is a full parts diagram, not to mention a parts list of every single part that you could need. So if you're looking for a generator and looking for parts, this is something that PowerSmart does offer. As we remove the side cover, I did notice it was a little hard to pull off, as these tabs are definitely holding it on in place, but it does have this nice foam padding to help dampen engine noise. Now this is going to come with an 80cc engine, and this carburetor, as you can see right here, the only thing I really don't like about carburetors is that the low speed jet is not on this side. Now this isn't really a hard thing to do, because at least you can get to both screws, remove the carb, tilt it, and then get to the low speed jet that's on the other side. So at least maintenance on these little engines is not too hard. You will have little tabs right here to basically get to your air filter. Now this is what we're going to check just to see if there is a little bit of oil on there, and I can feel just a little bit. You might be able to see the sheen, but this is just something that you'll do your periodic maintenance on, which these are easy enough to clean with a little bit of soap and water, and then you just pre-oil them by using a sandwich bag. And a lot of the engines now are coming with this plastic cladding on it, because this helps dampen the engine noise, because believe it or not, most of the noise that you hear from generators is not just the exhaust, but actually just from the engine itself. So by doing this, it may make it run a little bit hotter, but they sure move a lot more air through these engines nowadays than at least some of the older ones. So if you ever feel back here, you'll feel the air coming out a lot, not just from the exhaust, but actually from the fan. We'll take a towel and place this down here so we don't make a mess, and pull out our oil dipstick. Now according to the manual, it's going to need 12.3 ounces of oil. Now 12.3 ounces is about 363 cc's, which I'm just going to use this. This makes it really quick and simple when it comes to oil changes, not to mention also when it comes to filling up your generator, because you can actually see what you're doing and also not overfill it. But still, you'll want to take your time, because sometimes there is a little residual oil inside of the engine, so you don't want to always add every last drop. And you'll know it's full when it's at least at the bottom of the threads or halfway up. And you can use any synthetic 5W or 10W oil that you prefer, because this isn't really an oil war, and it's not the late great oil debate. This generator will weigh right about 40 pounds without gasoline. Now if you're looking for a good gas can, this one from SureCan is one I've been using for a few years now. This is wonderful because it's just easy to use, and I always recommend a fuel conditioner or fuel stabilizer. I like Lucas products. I'm not sponsored by them, but I've always had good luck with the product. And when filling up your generator, make sure you don't fill it up past a little red circle, because this can start causing hard starting problems and more. And open the vent. Okay, first startup, so place it into the choke position, make sure your low idle is off, and then while we sit here and wait for the fuel to go down the fuel line into the carburetor, this is a good time just to pull the engine slowly, circulate a little bit of oil, and wow, okay, never mind. And there we go. Okay, well that was super easy to start, and right now the low idle or eco mode is off. So far seems to be pretty quiet for a little small generator, like they should be. And so far so good. Let's turn on the low idle. And little green light indicates that it's running. And idle drops down nice and low, so that's good. Should be pretty quiet for a small generator, so we will do a sound check here in just a minute. Looks like they also have a little light right there for the USBs. Okay, so the low idle is on right now. So I'd say about 3,000 to 3,050 RPM is about where this lives at low idle. So that's pretty common. And low idle off. And with low idle off, it looks like we're going to be about 45, 50, maybe 4,600 because these aren't exactly 100% accurate. They're really close, but that is common for a lot of small generators, is to run right about there, because this way they can start up those loads, like inductive loads that you'll find like on air compressors. The engine has to rev higher because it's just a small little 80cc engine. This is for kind of like your light duty stuff, right? And again, the air goes in through the front of this thing, so you want to make sure you don't get trash or anything on it like that, because you can see that how much suction these things create to move air all the way through this. Now there is one thing I would like to see when it comes to these smaller generators, as an hour meter installed. I just think it would be kind of nice, because then you wouldn't have to go through this part having to do something yourself, which it doesn't really take that long, but it's just something else you have to add. Now of course you can pick up hour meters cheap. They're not expensive, and a lot of times you can buy them in a 2-pack. They're also relatively simple to install because they really don't require that much. Like this one here, you simply just put the wire into the back and feed it in. And it does come with its own supplied screws, and because the plastic is so soft, you really don't even need a drill. You just simply put it in, give it a little bit of elbow grease, and the screw would just thread itself in, nice and snug. Clip off the end of the wire. Now these do come with a lot of excess, which we don't need this much, but I do like leaving a little extra, that way I can work and not have to have this get too tight, or in case I need to redo it. Green or yellow? And that's really all there is to it. Okay, so sound check time. Now I've done a lot of sound checks right there at that little mark that's 23 feet, where a lot of the companies will use is kind of a ballpark, 23 feet away at a quarter load. Right now we are on low idle. Which that's actually pretty good. Okay, and that is high idle. And that's not bad. So we'll try it with a load here in just a minute. I am going to break this in and then I'll be back. Okay, so a quarter load sound test would be about 475 watts. We're just a little bit under that, so about 460 roughly. That's still going to be close enough to give us a good idea. And what it sounds like with a load on it. Okay, well that's not bad. Anytime we can be under 60, that is ideal. That's what we kind of want to look for in generators, is under 60, even at quarter load and more. Okay, so now we're doing about a 75 to 80% load test. This is where you would want to run your generator sustained, but not really any higher, because all you're going to do is burn it up. So you can see right about 80% load at 1520 watts and 80% load sound check. So honestly, this is pretty good at 80% load. There's a lot of other generators that will be quite a bit higher, 69, 71, 72. So this is not bad for just a little generator. Okay, so load test time, because sound checks are one thing, but being able to hold a load properly with a good pure sine wave and also checking our total harmonic distortion is actually more important. Okay, so as we take a look, I have a load on the generator about 60%. We're going to keep an eye on voltage and amps and also our pure sine wave. If we take a look here, you can see how it looks nice and symmetrical. The wave is nice and clean. Voltage looks good here. And our total harmonic distortion is 1.3%, which most generators, the newest ones, inverter generators, are 5% and less, and a lot of them being 3% and less. So that's what we're going to keep an eye on as we increase the load up higher. And now as we raise the load above 90%, the wave still looks good, but as we look at our generator, it is pretty much maxed out as far as load. This is not where you want to just run it consistently because you will burn them up. But it is holding a good total harmonic distortion. Our wave still looks good. I'm going to increase this more, but now as you can see, the red light is flashing. Even our RPMs are dropping because volts are now starting to suffer, so we have to back the load back down. And this is about where the generator would live, is about this 90% area if you wanted to run it this high, which you really shouldn't, but it did pass its test as far as actually not going over total harmonic distortion of 3%, and the waves still look good. Okay, now I did want to show you guys this one because this model has been out for a little while and it is almost identical, but it just doesn't have any protection as far as protecting the 120 volt outlet. Versus that one does have a cover on it, so just something a little bit different. This one also has a fuel gauge, which this one does not have a fuel gauge. This one has the pull choke and just a selector switch on the front, versus that one is a all-in-one. Now both of these generators do run an 80cc engine, so they're pretty much identical. They look to be a different brand. That one does have a better spark plug access, but that one over there does have an access panel if you want to check your oil real quick. So that's kind of a nice feature. And because these are pretty much the same brand, they're also the same size engine, they're the same size power output. If you have one of these already and you wanted more, you could parallel these together. I do think this one runs better though. After running these back and forth a little bit for the last half hour, this one definitely seems to run a little bit better. It recovers quicker, and also the volume levels of this one overall. This one is just a pinch quieter too, so it's not super drastic, but if you played with them for a little bit, yeah, you can tell that this one just is a little bit more refined. It's like, going from maybe an iPhone 14 to the new 16 is basically kind of what you're getting right here. So okay guys, what do you think about this new updated model? Now, it is kind of nice that PowerSmart does give you the manual that shows all the part numbers in it. There's not a lot of companies that actually do that, so that is kind of a nice thing. Now, this is a cheaper generator. It is more entry level. There's always going to be something better out there, something cheaper, but for the price, this will definitely do the light duty work that you're looking for. And if you're going to be running loads at 80% and above consistently, well, then you need to step up to something a little bit bigger, but this definitely seems to run a little bit better than the older version. A little bit quieter, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hope you liked the video. Hope to see you in another one.